But I want to fix my car first. So let me fix this situation first. Hold on, because I don't even know what car I'm in. So hold on. Let me see this. Hold on. I like this. Like honestly, I don't even like that. I don't even like that. I like this car. This is honestly the best. Hachiroku. Okay, I'll put a drift build. Fuck it. Okay. Let's get these CarX settings. Oh whoa. Let's get these CarX settings so I can have a really nice drift because I already got the hang of it a little bit. This is really fun. What's up, guys? Welcome to my stream. I hope I'm not too loud. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm gonna be searching up. I'm gonna put some music on in a little bit. I'm just going to make sure that I get these settings right. CarX drift settings.
Personally, I would just leave it because it's making good power. It already makes out of the box. It's making 800 horsepower.
Okay, so start the engine. It is on suspension. By the way, the very first thing, a lot of people, at least in my lab, you know how my lab is, they use the lowest front spring length. Okay, so it's completely slammed. It even has a little bit of camber, right?
Yeah.
Does that affect the car as well, or is it just that visual?
It definitely does.
It does.
So you know how your car's always pressing down on the ground, like the tires always have weight on them. When your car's bouncing around, like going over bumps and stuff like that, that weight varies because the car's bouncing up and down. So the goal of your suspension is to hold up that weight and make the weight between the tire and the ground as consistent as possible. So when you remove all of that suspension link, the suspension can't do anything to deal with your driver inputs or bumps in the road, so it'll feel a lot less smooth. First thing I look at, actually, is my wheel size, because everything else is going to be dictated off of how you want to look, especially in a lot of public lobby cars. You want it to look cool, right?
Yeah.
So I would start with your wheel sizing. In stock, it starts on 18-inch rims and 245 tires with what kind of profile? 40%. So these are really, really normal street tires. So, Goose, how much of a hot boy do you want to be? Is the question.
I like a little bit of slam, but not too much.
Okay.
I want the full tire to be visible.
Yes. You want to see. You don't want like rim to lip kind of.
No.
Like rim to fender stuff. Because for me, that's what I always do. I think that'll look super cool. But if you want to see the full tire, we can make that happen as well. So on a car like this, in a public lobby, your tire width, you don't want to be that guy on drag tires, and you don't want to be that guy on bicycle tires, because bicycle tires are just people trying to drive slow, and you can do that, but you can also do it without having a ridiculous looking tire. And I'm going to be controversial and say it, like, tires look ridiculous.
Yeah, and also let me add to the reason why I want to see the full tire, because it pisses me off when people like rotate their wheels and then the wheel goes through the fender. That will piss me off.
We can make it so your car is so dropped to the ground, full fender to like rim lip, but we can make it so it won't clip. I will never send you off on a tube.
At any angle?
I promise you.
At any angle, it won't clip through.
We can make that happen. Yes.
Okay, well that is the main point. Because I really
we can make that happen.
Okay.
So we can make that happen. So for this car, it's just a question of what kind of size tire you want. I think on most 90s lobbies cars, I run like 225 to 245 in the back, kind of anywhere there. This is a heavier car, so you might want to be closer to like 245. I'm going to go down to 235s personally. I'm going to make this setup alongside you.
But the rim diameter, the 18-inch.
Yeah.
So it's either 18 or 19 for me. I don't know which one to choose.
I'm thinking that we're going to go up to 19s and run a lot less tire profile.
Okay,
So it'll be the same total diameter, but it'll look a lot cooler.
Okay, so 19, and the tire width should be 230, you said?
235 in the back, and I usually run a little bit smaller in the front. I like to drive my cars with my gas and my brakes, so I want the back end to have a lot of grip.
Oh, that's fair.
And I want to have the front end to not have so much grip, so then it's more reliant on gas and brake as opposed to steering inputs, which will make the car a lot smoother.
And this is also better for steering wheel players with 900 no assist. If the front tire is more narrow, it is more difficult to boost your spin up next step.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I did the two things, the diameter and the tire width. You said something about the profile. What should that be?
If you want to run, like, if you want to look cooler, smaller profiles, what all, like, the cool guys run. You know what I mean? Like, in real life, they all have, like, the stretch tires and stuff. So I think, personally, 30% looks good, but that's up to you. And more profile will mean more grip, but in a public lobby, it doesn't really matter. We can get that grip elsewhere.
Yeah, so like rubber band tires, yeah?
Not super rubber bandy. I think 30 is nice, or 35, and it's completely whichever one you would prefer.
Okay, yeah, 30 is pretty slim.
So let's go 35 then.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with 35. But if you say 30, I will trust it.
It's completely in a public lobby car. It's completely what you think looks coolest, and will make the rest.
All right, okay, I'm gonna go with 35. All right, what is next? Oh, adhesion, right? 90.
Yep.
Okay.
Drop that down to 90. We're making a 90s car.
Okay, so next thing is tire pressure.
This is again a lot of personal preference, and this is one of the things that I kind of at the end. I start every car at 150 at the front and 100 at the back. That's just what I always run. There's no specific reason for it besides that's what I've always done for years.
Wow. Okay, I usually run like 250.
Running higher pressure will mean less grip, so you're gonna slip a lot more. The car's gonna feel a lot slidier.
Yeah, but isn't that like the purpose? Like smooth tandems on my lap is 90. No.
So you can be smooth at any speed. It's all down to the rest of your setup. So I run lower pressure. Again, this is actually the last thing that I come back to at the end because it's really easy to do your pressures and make the whole car feel different. So I do the rest of the setup first. I just throw a number on them and then I come back to it later.
Okay, this is exciting. This is very different than what I would do. Okay, front spring stiffness. Do I need to change that?
So this car weighs 4,010 kilograms. It's a heavy car.
4,000? What?
Yeah, 4,000. It's a big sedan, right?
4 tons?
1410. It's a heavy car.
Oh, 1.4. Okay, I thought 4 tons.
14. Yeah, not 4,000. 14,000.
1,400.
1,400. Yeah. I'm waking up still, man. I
Jesus,
haven't
4 tons. I was like, Jesus, that truck.
No. So it's a big, heavy car, right? I'm gonna run 100 in the front and 70 in the rear.
All right, guys. So everything seems to me like you are focusing on the rear to be more grippy, like every value.
I like to drive with my gas and my brake. My steering is very much just trying to keep it going in about the right direction. And of course, everyone's going to set up different, but the most important thing is knowing what the sliders do and how they affect things. So like stiffer springs, that means the car is going to not conform to the road as easily, and you're going to lose a little bit of mechanical grip.
Yeah, so you're using lower adhesion than usual, but you're using higher stiffness.
Yeah, because I'm trying to make sure, so the springs hold the weight of the car up, and then the dampers are going to control where that weight transfers while we're driving.
Okay, well, now we are getting to the dampers, which I'll be honest, I don't really know much about dampers.
Let's first look at our spring lengths. We'll come back to dampers after we test drive.
Okay.
Because right now it won't knock it out matter. Because everything else is going to affect. So it's 13, and honestly, that's kind of the stance you said you want.
It could be even lower at the moment, a little bit, like at least in the rear. The rear seems to be higher.
I would run 10 in the front and 9 in the back. Because I think that looks cool, but you can go higher than that.
No, I mean, that is really flat. As long as it's higher, it doesn't go through the fender, that's fine.
We will make sure of it.
Okay, then
We'll make sure.
10 and 9. Okay.
10 and 9. I think that looks really cool. The good thing is we can get low, but we still have spring length, so our suspension still is working.
So front toe.
Negative means the toes are pointed out, toe out. Positive means the tires are pointed in, toe in. Toe out means that end of...
Do I look zombie enough? I'm not scaring me.
Looks so real.
Are you gaming on a Chromebook?
Yeah.
Hey, don't watch the video if you're lazy. Don't watch the video if you're soft.
The car is going to want to dart in directions easier. It's going to make that end more snappy. And toe in is going to make the car want to push forward like an arrow, because it kind of makes an arrow, so that makes it easy to remember. So I run negative in the front always and positive in the rear always. So what I'm doing there is I'm making the front want to dart into corners more, but I'm making the rear, I'm controlling my forward light, how much the car wants to pull into the corner with my rear toe.
Okay, how much should the front toe be? Like the minus
I
value?
always start out at negative 0.3.
Jesus. Wait, like 03 or 3?
Negative 0.30.
Okay, that's a lot of toe. Negative toe. All right. Okay.
Yeah, and then in the rear, it kind of is how much forward grip you want. In a comp car, if you can get away with running 1, that will be the objectively fastest car. You know what I mean? Everyone will be like, oh, that car's so fast, but it's really hard to drive. So on a 90s car, I start at positive 0.5.
Jeez.
And then I tweak from there. A lot of people run 0 as well, in both front and back. There's a lot of personal preference. So definitely throw a slider.
But since this is like a smooth drift car, not a comp car, should I be using 05?
That's what I start at on my comp car, on my drift, like my mellow cars. I run like 0.7 normally.
Jesus. Okay, let's start at 0.5. I guess that's fine for now.
Yeah, that'll be totally fine.
Well, it's gonna handle really different. Okay.
So your camber, your front camber, you're gonna adjust that alongside your caster and your kingpin. Those 3 are linked together.
What does that mean?
So your front camber, right, is how much the tires lean in.
Yeah.
Your caster is how much the tires change camber as you turn.
Oh, so the camber changes mid-drift.
As you're turning, yes. And then your kingpin angle, you can adjust how much each tire changes independent of the other as well.
Jesus, bro. I feel like I need a PhD for this.
Doing RC when I was a kid was honestly one of the biggest helps ever because you build the suspension and you can see how it works.
Yeah.
And that is huge. So those 3 go together. So on controller, I run in front camber negative 5.5.
I'm gonna do the same.
And yeah, this will probably be different for you just because wheel to controller. So your rear camber, adding more negative camber in the rear will make the car transition slower. And in a 90s car, that's kind of all that matters with rear camber. So I like to run like negative 2, negative 2.5 in the rear on a 90s car because you don't care about speed so much.
Yeah.
I also think it kind of looks okay. That's one of the things where I'll tweak that as I'm testing the car to see how I want it to feel. If it's transitioning a little fast, I'll add a little bit more camber. If it's transitioning a little slow for me, I'll take out a little bit of the camber.
Anti-roll bar?
So anti-roll bars are very strange in drifting. It's one of the hardest things to get your head around about how it's working. Ideally, the most grip you can make is with no roll bar, but the car might feel a little bit weird.
What does it even mean? Anti-roll bar.
So a roll bar is literally a bar that connects the suspension arms on one side of the car to the other. So when one side gets pushed up, that bar tries to lift up the other side as well. And when it gets pushed down, it tries to push down the other side. So it links both sides of your car together.
Wow, that feels complicated.
So in the front, stiffer roll bar means the car will have less forward grip up to a certain extent, and rear anti-roll bar, generally I don't mess with it so much in drifting, but if I need to take out grip at either end of the car, I'll add more bar. So when I start out, because I really like an ungripped front end, I start my front bar at 50.
Wow, I'm never putting that high.
Yeah, and then in your rear, personally, I run it about as low as you can have it while the sides are still connected, because you want the sides connected just so that there's more feedback in the car. So I run like 10 in the rear.
How do you know it's connected? What, 50 and 10 is connected?
No, I'm saying I'm running a rear bar just so the 2 rear sides are connected, just so that the rear end has a bar at all.
Why not the 0?
0 means that there is not a roll bar, so they're not connected at all.
Okay, so, alright.
10 is just a number, it's a random guess, it's not
Okay.
scientific in any way, shape, or form.
Fair. Okay, caster, my favorite thing. I love it.
Caster, I love it. I run 8.8 on everything.
Okay,
On everything.
so yeah, I'm gonna tell the viewers my experience as well. If on some cars you feel like the steering wheel has really horrible force feedback, like the wheel is like soft like a sausage, just increase the caster. That is the most easiest thing you can do to just like modify a specific car. You don't have to go with the settings and move change the overall force feedback setting. You can just increase the caster if you want to feel more force feedback.
I completely agree with that. That is 100% accurate. So your caster does affect your self-steer, which is what you're describing, which is how much the wheel wants to follow it. And more caster will make it also so that you can drive the car again more with the gas and the brake as opposed to the steering, which will always mean you'll feel a lot smoother.
And you said 8.8, yeah?
That's where I always start, and again, that's just because I've like tried higher, I've tried lower, and that's just where it feels comfortable for me. It'll really adjust also how twitchy the steering is at the extremes.
I'm gonna use 8.8 as well. Alright, accurate angle, that's an interesting thing now.
Oh, it's so controversial. People say like, oh, you're not pro unless you run 100, and
Yep.
yada, yada, yada.
Yep.
So Ackerman in a 90s car run it where you're comfortable. It doesn't matter at all. It is completely just how you're comfortable. I personally, on my 90s car, I run 30.
Okay, but someone jumps into CarX doesn't know what Ackerman even is.
It changes your front toe as you turn more. More Ackerman will make the car want to spin a little bit more. It'll be more spinny. It'll be more snappy. It'll feel way more sensitive on the joystick, or it'll feel way more sensitive on the wheel if you're on wheel. Lower Ackerman makes it feel a lot looser, a lot less grippy. The car will be a little bit slower, but it's almost not noticeable at all.
So on the controller, like if you go on 0 Ackerman, on controller, there is no way you can oversteer, right?
I'm honestly at like 20 or 30. If you have your car set up right, it's hard to oversteer that.
Now the funny thing is, on steering wheel, 900 no assist. On 0 Ackerman, you can still oversteer. Why is that?
I don't know. I have to assume it has to do with the controller assist. I have to, because what else would be different? You know what I mean?
Okay, but when you're chilling in a lobby, what do you use on controller? Usually the Ackerman.
I run 30 on everything. 30, yeah. That's just where I run. I've always run it. Because also, a lot of the time, if I'm in a comp, I'll try to go higher, because that is faster. But in a 90s lobby, I just want to hang out, and I want to get doors, and I don't really care about
Wait, can you do 360s on 30?
No, I never do 360s. I'm not a very good driver. I mask it with a good setup. To each their own. Play the game how you have fun, you know? Steering axis offset. If you want to be hot boys and slant like this, you have to bring it all the way down.
I've never changed that. I'll be honest, never. What does it even do? It doesn't do anything.
It changes where the pivot point for the wheels are. So set it to 20, right? Set it all the way up.
Okay.
And have the wheels turn and look at how much your wheels clipping.
I think I have a different body kit done on this car.
I don't have a body kit at all.
Yeah, I think that's why I can't see the difference.
It allows you to deal with clipping a little bit easier. It will change the way the car feels a little bit, but I haven't noticed so much. So I use it just for fitment. So I run it at 0 to get the nice slant, you know?
Fine, I'm gonna put it in 0. Kingpin angle inclination. What is that? That's like some kind of a newer value, yeah?
It is a newer value. So it's like caster, but in a different plane. It affects caster, and it makes it so if you had it at 0, caster affects both wheels exactly the same, but if you have it higher, it makes it so the caster changes the camber of the wheels as you turn differently. But for me right now, I'm leaving it at 10. I'm not messing with it. I'm not playing with it.
And as for the max steering angle, we did get an update, so all the cars now in CarX for 65 max.
Hello?
I'm sorry. I thought you were at work. Go back to sleep.
It's alright,
I
what?
love you.
What?
I love you.
I'm up. I'm up.
I just had a bad dream. Okay, I love you.
Everything's alright.
Huh?
Everything's alright.
Okay.
Alright. Let me...
Okay.
What?
Okay, bye.
Mom,
Yeah.
you okay?
Okay.
Alright. I'm gonna be alright, alright?
Okay.
Alright. Let me know when you want to take the stuff so I could get a
Are you
storage.
coming here?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there soon.
Are you coming back?
Yeah, next week, this week, I'm gonna bring my...
Okay.
I don't have that much stuff.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring my clothes and then I'm gonna see if I could go to.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, bye.
All right. Bye. I love you, Mom.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, you can run 65 now, and if you want to run 65, run 65. Honestly, I run 65 on most of my cars these days, except for like 86s or Miatas, just where I don't think you would see 65 degrees of steering angle on them in real life. But again, it's up to you.
So, did we go through wheels already? Yeah, wheels
So
and
now
suspension.
we're going back to do our wheel tracks now.
What is that?
It is how wide your tires are. That That's a really easy slider.
Oh, this
You
is
go
just
left
a
and right.
this is just a fitment thing.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make the car look good, man. Drifting is about style.
What is that?
It is how wide your tires are.
So did we go through wheels already? Yeah, wheels.
So now that's just where I don't think you would see 65 degrees of steering. If you want to run 65, run 65. Honestly, I run 65 on most of my cars these days, except for like 8.6s or Miatas, just where I don't think you would see 65 degrees of steering angle on them in real life. But again, it's up to you.
So did we go through wheels already? Yeah, wheels.
So now we're going back to do our wheel tracks now.
What is that?
It is how wide your tires are. That's a really easy slider.
Oh, this
You
is
go
just
left and right.
this is just a fitment thing.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make the car look good, man. Drifting is about style. Let's be real.
Yeah. I have this weird fender on this body kit, by the way, which probably needs us to like raise the front a little bit, maybe.
We'll
I don't
see.
know. So
I think if you go to 7 or 8,
yeah, 7 or 8 looks pretty good.
I bet if you turn the wheels all the way, it won't clip.
It doesn't clip when you're all the way out. There is some angle where it does clip.
Yeah, and it's kind of just guess and check. But I'm watching it right now at 6. I'm not getting any clipping as it moves.
Right. So front wheel drive 6 and rear. Wow,
I
rear
think
looks
0 looks good.
yeah, pretty okay.
Yeah.
External wastegate. What does that do?
It makes it sound like when you decelerate.
So this is just a turbo flutter sound. Yep.
Yeah, if you want it to sound cool, have it sound cool. It makes it sound like when you decelerate.
So this is just a turbo flutter sound. Yep.
Yeah, if you want it to sound cool, have it sound cool. If not, that's cool.
Alright. Engine tune-up.
I think with 90s cars these days, on the new update, you can get away with a lot less power than people think. Like, I've been running 400 horsepower, and I've not been able to, like, I'm faster than most people these days.
Same, and I feel like it's even better because if you have so much power, it's just gonna be spinning wheels so fast.
Exactly. I've been running 400 horsepower, and I've not been able to, like, I'm faster than most people these days.
Same, and I feel like it's even better because if you have so much power, it's just gonna be spinning wheels so fast.
Exactly.
You don't need to. You don't need to.
Exactly. So I'm not going to add any engine tune-up on this car personally.
I agree.
So max torque, I'd drop that all the way down to give myself the biggest power band possible.
Same.
And rev limiter all the way up. I love
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Let's go for it.
Okay.
And then turbo, so max torque, I'd drop that all the way down to give myself the biggest power band possible.
Same.
And rev limiter all the way up. I love
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Let's go for it.
Okay.
And then turbo, so max torque, I'd drop that all the way down to give myself the biggest power band possible.
Same.
And rev limiter all the way up. I love
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Let's go for it.
Okay.
And then turbo, I have a turbo, but I'm running like 0.4 because I'm trying to get like 450 horsepower.
Or really similar. I would run probably like 0.5. Alright, transmission.
Now we're going to do some math. Are you ready? Are you so excited to do math?
No.
So, transmission type, sequential or regular? Sequential, it is like a quicker shift time. I'm running standard because I think it's a street car and it should have a standard transmission.
Fine. Okay. Never used standard. I will try differential type. Viscous.
Okay, you have many different choices now.
Yes.
Let's go through the 4 quickly. Open means whatever wheel has the least amount of grip gets all the power. In low horsepower grip cars, it's cool. In a drift car, you would never use it. A spool is effectively a locked diff. So whatever one wheel in the back does, the other wheel does.
That is a locked diff, the spool one?
In low horsepower grip cars, it's cool. In a drift car, you would never use it. A spool is effectively a locked diff. So whatever one wheel in the back does, the other wheel does.
That is a locked diff, the spool one?
Effectively, yeah.
What?
So
Okay.
for like a car like this, that's actually probably the right choice. And for most street cars, that's what you would run as a locked diff.
Wow. Alright.
Yeah. The viscous LSD is what you already know from CarX. That's the old diff.
That is what we have always been using.
That is exactly what you use. Treat it the same way as you always have. 100 is locked, 0 isn't, and then it's stiffness. And then clutch-based, you can actually tune everything about the diff.
Basically, if you use the clutch, it locks the diff, yeah?
No.
What?
It actually has clutches in the diff, and it uses mechanical forces to determine when it needs to lock and when it doesn't need to lock.
Okay, that's interesting. I thought when you press the clutch, it locks the diff.
No. So this one's really cool. Preload is how stiff the diff is without any throttle input or anything. Power lock is how quickly the diff ramps to locking up. The higher the number, the quicker it ramps up, right? And then the coast lock is when you let off the gas, the diff will start to loosen up, and the lower the number loosens up.
That is some like really advanced stuff.
It is. It's really nice and it's really handy. I use it on all my comp cars, but for this car, we're just going to use a spool
Okay,
because
yeah,
most people will.
yeah.
And on a car like this, it doesn't really matter.
Okay. Right. So let's go and use spool.
We're gonna skip over final drive until we do the gears. But there's a really easy way to calculate all of your gears almost instantly and have them be perfect every time.
But question though, why do you even need to change the final drive at all? Why not just change the gears individually, like you did?
So your gears individually, you're tuning the distance between each gear, like how far your revs drop on each gear shift, right? Then your final drive, you're adjusting all of those at once. So the goal with your gear tuning is to make...
Every time you sit behind the wheel, you buckle up for the unexpected.
sure that the space between the gears is correct and right so that the shifting goes well, and then you tweak your final drive last to make sure that your revs sit where you want them to be.
That's interesting. Usually I do final drive first. Like if the car goes through the gears really fast, like I go 50 miles per hour and I'm already on fifth gear, I'm like, nope, I need to have less final drive.
Yeah, you can totally do that, and that totally works fine. I just sat down with a calculator and did the math so that my revs drop to a very usable power band, and you can adjust that as well, because I like it where my gears, every time I shift, it drops down to the same RPM every time. That makes it really easy to tweak your final drive. The goal is the space between gear 1 and gear 2 should always be double what gear 2 to gear 3 is. Does that make sense? What I do is I always just start my first gear at 3, and that makes my math a lot easier.
That's a good point. Okay, let me
right?
click on 3.
And then so we'll do 1 down from gear 1, right? So 2 for gear number 2.
Yeah, oh goodness, that's a good tip. Yeah,
Right?
okay.
And then gear 3. And then so we'll do 1 down from gear 1, right? So 2 for gear number 2.
Yeah, oh goodness, that's a good tip.
What I do is I always just start my first gear at 3, and that makes my math a lot easier.
That's a good point. Okay, let me
right?
click on 3.
And then so we'll do 1 down from gear 1, right? So 2 for gear number 2.
Yeah, oh goodness, that's a good tip. Yeah,
Right?
okay.
And then gear 3, so we want to do half of gear 1 to gear 2. So and then so we'll do 1 down from gear 1, right? So 2 for gear number 2.
Yeah, oh goodness.
What I do is I always just start my first gear at 3, and that makes my math a lot easier.
That's a good point. Okay, let me
right?
click on 3.
And then so we'll do 1 down from gear 1, right? So 2 for gear number 2.
Yeah, oh goodness, that's a good tip. Yeah.
And then gear 3, so we want to, and then so we'll do 1 down from gear 1, right? So 2 for gear number 2.
Yeah, oh goodness, that's a good tip. Yeah,
Right?
okay.
And then gear 3, so we want to do half of gear 1 to gear 2. So what would that be?
1.5.
Exactly.
All right, so 1.5.
Gear number 2.
Yeah, oh goodness, that's a good tip. Yeah,
Right?
okay.
And then gear 3, so we want to do half of gear 1 to gear 2. So what would that be?
1.5.
Exactly.
All right, so 1.5 and 1.0.
No? What's the difference between gear 2 and gear 3?
These boys, okay. 0.25 difference, so 1.25. Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, and now it's gonna get more difficult with the gear 5.
So now you have to do the same thing, but with gear 5, and we're going to have to do a little rounding. It should be 1 point...
So 1.25. Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, and now it's gonna get more difficult with the gear 5.
So now you have to do the same thing, but with gear 5, and we're going to have to do a little rounding. It should be 1.125 to be perfect, but I'm just doing 1.13.
Okay, I get it.
And then for gear 6, I usually only use the first 4 gears.
I don't even use the 6th gear, I'll be honest.
Yeah, so I just threw a 1 there just so it looks nice. So now we don't know if...
Okay, I get it.
And then for gear 6, I usually only use the first 4 gears.
I don't even use the 6th gear, I'll be honest.
Yeah, so I just threw a 1 there just so it looks nice. So now we don't know if our final drive's right until we test drive it, so we'll go back to it later. And now let's look at brakes.
I first the 6th gear, I'll be honest.
Yeah, so I just threw a 1 there just so it looks nice. So now we don't know if our final drive's right until we test drive it, so we'll go back to it later. And now let's look at brakes.
I personally use like 1.6.
I use 1.8. Lower brake is easier to keep smooth. Higher brake, you have a lot more control.
Front brake bias. So let's say I'm in a drift, right?
Yeah.
And I brake really hard. Sometimes the car will oversteer then immediately.
That means you have too much front brake bias. Whatever you're at, that means just turn it down. I start at about 70. I find that to be very comfortable. Front brake bias at 0 means there's no front brakes, and brake bias at 100 means there's no rear brakes.
I mean, 50 feels pretty good then, if they go equal.
50, I like 70 because I do a lot of left foot braking, and that keeps the car at the same angle. It's up to you and how you drive, but I start at 70 and I adjust from there.
Okay, can I use 69 though?
Dude, I didn't want to tell you, so most of my setup, I actually had 69s in everywhere. So yeah, I was running 69. I run 1869 brake bias.
We have more things coming than I thought. ABS?
Yeah, 69.
ABS?
ABS on, I run it on. Some people run it off.
It is really fun to turn it off when you do toge with like 100 easy and small grippy cars.
Yes, I agree. And now it should be good to test drive.
I am on a wheel, so I'm gonna be a little bit slower, by the way. It is really fun to turn it off when you do toge with like we have more things coming than I thought. ABS?
Yeah, 69.
ABS?
ABS on, I run it on. Some people run it off.
It is really fun to turn it off when you do toge with like 100 easy and small grippy cars.
Yes, I agree. And now it should be good to test drive.
I am on a wheel, so I'm gonna be a little bit slower, by the way. It is different.
Yeah, it definitely will feel different.
Wow, okay.
But it should feel pretty smooth.
It is. I mean, I have no complaints at the moment. We're gonna have a really narrow cone as well coming up. I wanna see how it handles that. Okay, so far I like it. Okay, this is a very important corner where I can test the angle of the car. Okay, it's really accurate. It doesn't oversteer and it doesn't understeer. It's like...
Yo, we lit, yo. Why can't I see? Everything's dark.